Heaving the ball at the buzzer has been an integral part of the game, from mundane half-court shots at the end of the first quarter to game-saving fourth-quarter buzzer beaters in the playoffs. Heaves are an exciting component of basketball. Yet it wasn't until the 96-97 season that heaves were noted as a separate statistic in the NBA. Since I haven't really seen a video about this topic, I decided to download and analyze the data from the past 28 seasons that they were recorded to track the evolution of the shot. These are the two main points that I will be trying to answer in this video. This one seems easy enough to answer, right? On the surface, it's pretty simple. Just add up the total heaves attempted and made by all players over each season and compare the percentages by year. But before we do that, what even is considered a heave? What kind of heave is it? And how far was it shot from? Is the source data even accurate and reliable? While making this video, I initially went off of only the basketball reference data, but I became curious if the official NBA website had stats for heaves so I could verify if the data matched. After a bit of digging, I was able to find this, where they had the stat listed as backcourt shots. After copying and pasting each season into an Excel sheet and calculating the odds, I noticed a clear difference between the two sites, which you can take a look at for yourself, which was also different from what Wikipedia says, which is different from what its source says. I'm not sure if Wikipedia and chickennoodlehoop.com are the most trustworthy sources, so let's compare the data from the first two websites. Keep in mind that teams only played on average 50 games in 1999 and 66 games in 2012 due to lockouts, and then 71 games in 2020 and 72 games in 2021 due to COVID. This is what the graphs would look like if you remove the shortened seasons. And this is what the graphs would look like if you adjusted the rate of heave attempts and makes of the shortened season to a full 82-game season. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume the official NBA website has the more accurate data, so I'll only use that from now on. To answer my question, you can see the steady increase in attempts from the 90s until 2008, where it peaks at 597 attempts. But after 2008, you can see the attempts arbitrarily drop over time. Even after extrapolating the shortened seasons, you can clearly see how 2012 and 2021 are outliers. I honestly could not tell you why, and if anyone has an idea, please share it down in the comments below. Although attempts may have generally increased over time, players clearly have not gotten better at making them, as you can see. A total of 12,862 heaves have been attempted, with 365 of them being made in the history of the league. This brings the all-time shooting percentage of a backcourt shot to approximately 2.84% according to NBA.com and 2.6% according to Basketball Reference. I got curious if any businesses had data about this because who pays out the fans when they hit these half-court shots? During the rare occasions that they do win, they're paid by insurance companies, who I'm sure know a thing or two about statistics. I came across this article which talks about a Magic fan who got a chance to win a car by making a half-court shot. SCA Promotions, the subject of the article, is an insurance company that covers these types of prize events. They've covered over $10 billion in theoretical risk while paying out over $240 million in prizes, so it seems like they know a thing or two about this. In the article, it says that Adam Walker, the company's senior account executive and former Harvard basketball player, calculated the odds of fans hitting the half-court shot at about 1 in 50 tries, or 2%. This seems somewhat in line with what the NBA players historically shot, but you also have to consider that heaves include full-court shots, and if you've ever touched a basketball, you know the difference in difficulty between a half-court shot and a full-court shot. You also have to consider if there was a running start or not, as well as the fact that NBA defenders are guarding this shot. I could also say that the fans and the pressure, as well as the shot clock, would also play a factor, but then again, the fan in the contest would also face the same aspects as well. With all that being said, I don't think the heave is a shot that can ever be made at a consistent rate. Well, at least until Cannon Curry makes the league. Watch Chet Holmgren as the third quarter ends. Why did he wait until the shot clock expired to shoot the ball when his team was down 14? If you've been a fan of the NBA, this is nothing new. We've all heard of players that don't like taking these shots because it lowers their field goal and three-point percentages. All-stars like KD, LeBron, and Harden have all been seen letting the clock run out instead of risking another missed three on the box score. Their reluctance is understandable though, given that shooting percentages are a key metric in player evaluations and contract negotiations. However, you have to consider that the last second heave is always a good play, and if your team is down, especially in the playoffs, those 3 points could end up being the difference between a loss and a win. An example of this could be this shot by Andre Drummond. who told Bleacher Report that it was his most memorable heave. After grabbing the board with 4 seconds left in the half, Drummond walks up and casually drains the shot, giving the Pistons a 3-point lead. They would end up barely winning the game by 3 points, surviving a monstrous game by prime Isaiah Thomas. So, to answer my question, I went back to the data and calculated the all-time stats for each individual player in the history of the league. There have been 1,491 unique players who have attempted at least one backcourt shot since the 96-97 season. These are the top 10 players with the most attempts of all time. Andre Miller has attempted the most amount of backcourt shots in history, shooting 3 for 133 on them over his 17-year career. This means that he shot about 7.82 heaves per season, more than anyone else on this list. In contrast, these are the players with the most heaves made in league history. Jamal Crawford leads the rankings, having made 7 out of 103 attempts over his 20-year career. Crawford has been well renowned for his ability to hit these shots throughout his career, and this is what he had to say about the shot. Sometimes I practice them, but there's an art to it too. I've been doing it since I was younger. It's weird because when I came into the NBA, some people close to me were like, "Don't shoot that shot, it'll mess up your percentage." But I think if you look at it like that, it's selfish. Sure, you can be worried about your own percentage, but if that shot goes in, it's a boost for your team and your crowd. I've seen that shot change the momentum of games. So then, which stars are notorious for not attempting heaves? I wasn't sure on how to classify a player as a star, so I just considered any player with at least one All-Star game as a star. I looked up every single All-Star since the 96-97 season and compiled their stats. First off, these are the stars that do shoot heaves, with Luka Doncic leading everyone at 7.5 heaves per season. Stephen Curry is right behind him, with Tyrese Halliburton trailing right behind him. In contrast, these are the stars with 0 heave attempts, at least since the 96-97 season. It's unsurprising that the majority of the list are big men, who wouldn't exactly be expected to bring the ball up from backcourt. These are the top 10 All-Stars that had the least attempts per season, who have at least attempted one. All big men again, not very surprising. But if I remove all the centers and power forwards from that list, the table looks like this. I've accounted for the seasons that players weren't active. For example, the Gordon Hayward Boston season, or the KD Achilles injury. Now, I want to focus on some of the bigger stars in the league, and break down exactly how often they attempt a heave. To do this, I divided the precise number of minutes played by each player in their career by the total attempted heaves, and I found this. Considering Kawhi Leonard has only played 22,103 minutes in his regular career season so far, while attempting only 3 heaves in the regular season, it means that he attempts a heave every 7,368 minutes of playtime. Kevin Durant is not far behind him, attempting one every 3,897 minutes. On the other hand, Stephen Curry and Luka Doncic attempt a heave every 300 and 310 minutes of game time. LeBron sits in the middle, attempting a heave every 1,155 minutes of game time. The thing is, out of the 49 heaves he has attempted in his career, only 9 of them have been after 2011, so make of that as you will. These are the All-Stars with the highest shooting percentage, though it is somewhat skewed due to the low sample size. So these are the All-Stars with the highest shooting percentage with over 35 attempts, because 1 over 35 is 2.86%, almost the league average. Everyone on this list is shooting above 5%, with Zach Randolph making a whopping 11.36% of his 44 heaves. These are the worst shooting All-Stars with over 35 heave attempts. Nothing much to say about this, I just found it interesting. So there you have it. I hope you learned something from watching this video. Do you think that it's fair that players are criticized for not taking this shot? What rule change do you think would encourage more players to take the heave? I was contemplating on adding that part for this video, but I'll save that for another day. I enjoy reading your comments, so please leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching.